If we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
It's no secret Charlie Kirk, co-founder of Turning Point USA, spews white supremacy talking points. And that's the thing about them and their belief. No matter how much they may try to hide it, dress it up as something else, or quell it, it comes out. A wise man once told me, what's up there, meaning your brain, will eventually come out. Charlie Kirk believes that Joy Reid, who was a television host, political commentator, and author, Michelle Obama, former First Lady who received her BA from Princeton and her Juris Doctor from Harvard, Sheila Jackson Lee, a member of the House of Representatives who received her BA from Yale and Juris Doctor from UVA, Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is a Supreme Court Justice, earning her bachelor's from Harvard and her JD from Harvard Law. Now, to say these people don't have the brain processing power, I mean, what can you say about that? How do you make that statement, seeing the evidence, and not seriously question the content of your conclusion? Now, he didn't say, I disagree with the position they hold or they got the facts wrong on some issue. He said they don't possess the brain processing power. Now, he's not basing it off any accomplishments. Clearly, the fact that all 4 women graduated from an Ivy League school speaks to that. And it's unrealistic to believe that he has met all of them, let alone used some device or instrument capable of measuring or evaluating their brain processing power. So, what is it about these 4 women that allows him to make such a pronouncement? I believe we can get the answer from a white supremacist from antiquity, Thomas Jefferson. In his book, he says, I advance it, therefore, as a suspicion only that the blacks, whether originally a distinct race or made distinct by time and circumstance, are inferior to the whites in the endowments both of body and mind. So that's where he gets that from. His deeply held, almost religious-like chosen belief in white supremacy. The chosen belief in white supremacy is debilitating. This belief system divorces the believer from reality. Now, you can say a lot of things about those 4 women, but to say something without a hitch that is demonstrably false, I mean demonstrably, well, that takes an immeasurable amount of belief. That's the first dumb thing he said in this clip. The second dumb thing he said in this 30-second clip is they stole a white person's slot. Now we know that Charlie Kirk's almost religious-like devotion to the talking points of white supremacy, we can't honestly say we're surprised. This is another talking point he's spewing. Again, unsurprisingly. He's talking about affirmative action. Well, he thinks he is. And this is where he goes into his belief structure. He does that when he gives the notion that some white person's slot was stolen. That permeates the belief that an unqualified black person stole the slot from a qualified white person because of affirmative action. This is another part of their belief. I'm going to show you how that's not a possibility given the guidelines on affirmative action. Not that this will make a difference for people like Charlie Kirk. He's demonstrated the ability to ignore reality if it contradicts his belief. But for the others, here goes. Now, this is from the U.S. Department of Labor and its guidelines for affirmative action. As you can see, it clearly states recruit and advance qualified minorities. This is the affirmative action guidelines. Anything that strays from this is no longer affirmative action. Now listen carefully. This is to the Charlie Kirk followers who don't necessarily critically think. Kirk is most likely speaking of when colleges and universities adopted a form of this policy for their admissions and called it affirmative action. Before 1978, colleges and universities could create and implement their own version of the policy that they based on the affirmative action guidelines. Those colleges and universities could appropriate a percentage of their available slots, that's why he uses the word slots, to minority groups, Asians, blacks, etc. Those slots could be solely based on race and include someone who may not be qualified. Again, not affirmative action as he states, as affirmative action required everyone to be qualified to be in compliance with the guidelines. This is a clear attempt to keep his followers believing in the tenets of white supremacy. Blacks don't have the brain processing power and needed the system to steal a slot from a deserving white person and give it to an undeserving black person. They choose to believe that, despite the evidence to the contrary. Now that's out of the way. Hit the beat. In the system of white supremacy, the believers and supporters of its talking points will always make the case that blacks are getting away with something. In this case, it's being unqualified and stealing something from the more deserving white person. We all know that's classic projection. That's actually what the system was designed to do for them. While people are busy arguing whether affirmative action is a good thing or not, we are steadfastly challenging the system that made it necessary in the first place. Seek out the comment sections on videos like this and share this video as a rebuttal to that nonsense.